remember that if you don't speak out and address that infringement of consciousness and that infringement of someone's rights, then you are allowing that type of society and that type of world to be perpetuated. It is people's failure to address these types of things that allows these types of things to occur. It doesn't matter if the crime you are seeing perpetrated is being perpetrated by criminals in government. You still need to speak out about it. If you're seeing the police commit crimes and treat people in a harsh manner, you need to speak out about it. It doesn't matter how controversial it may be. And remember that the great lawmaker Solon once decreed it a crime for any citizen within his empire to shrink from controversy. And there are very good reasons to promote that type of an attitude within any society, folks. So when you really look at it, folks, when you really understand that the problem with all of our societies is corruption at the top, the problem is that there are certain parts of the consciousness that is humankind. There are certain parts of it that hold far more cards than all the other parts, and they tend to inflict themselves upon others. Now, we have had these corrupt and totally misinforming education systems that have been constructed for all of our societies, and through these institutions people have become more and more disconnected from the source, disconnected from the true self, and disconnected from each other. And this has all happened due to a lack of true knowledge and a lack of a true understanding of reality. And because of this, this has caused the world to become polarized. Because the less you know about the game of life, then the more you simply become a player, a senseless living being, and living becomes senseless. It just becomes a rush and a meaningless series of events that just don't go anywhere, and then suddenly you die. You've spent your life running around at top speed, paying bills, looking after the kids, doing this, doing that, buying more trinkets, hoping you get a half an hour off on the weekend or a little bit of time to relax at some time in your life. It's just completely senseless. But the thing is that through all of this, there's a deeper meaning. The real point is that you can step back from all of this and you can see how meaningless all this activity is. And then it is your personal choice of whether you should embrace that type of reality or not embrace it. I've said to you before that in all of the negative things that we see, in all of the negative things that are abundant in our society, this is life itself providing us with the tools to completely destroy our lives, or allow our lives to be destroyed. It's not the tools and the fact that there are so many things and so many negative things in the world for us to freely use to destroy ourselves. It's how people react to these things. That's what's important. You have the free will whether to allow these things to occur, whether to use these tools to destroy yourself, whether to drink the alcohol, whether to take drugs, whether to go out and party all night and abuse your body, or whether to be conscious and spiritual and help those around you. The choice is freely yours. It's absolutely yours. You have the free will to choose how you will live your life. And you just have to take the responsibility, because it's up to you. It's up to you to realize the truth yourself. And as soon as we realize the connection we've got to each other, the sooner we can fix the problems in the world. And our failure to do this, as I've also said to you before, our failure to act in a state of empathy and compassion to others will be the cause of all of our future pain, and any pain we might experience in this life or after this life. The empathy and the compassion that you withhold is the burden that you carry. And it has always, and it will always be this way. So who is really responsible for the state of the world today? Is it the Rothschilds? Is it the banking dynasties? Is it the criminal governments? Sure, there are a bunch of megalomaniacal criminals, but are they really responsible? The reality is that we, as a society, live in a virtually hypnotized and semi-comatose state. The reality is that we as a society have given our free will consent to allow the planet to be reduced to the state that it is in today. And we have done this through our passive allowance of the perpetuation of evil, crime and corruption all around us and at the highest and most deepest levels of our societies. We have done this ourselves. We've swallowed anything that's been offered to us by our government. We've failed to address all of the major situations that have been going on in the world. We've got to a state of living merely to indulge ourselves. Most people in modern societies saturate and pollute their mind with whatever is served up for them on television, and they're quite addicted to television. They believe that the television reality is actually reality. They believe that what they see on TV is real, and that the television version of the world is actually what's going on. They support a lot of the wars. They think that the people that are being bombed into oblivion in other countries and the amount of global pollution that's occurring from depleted uranium and the theft of global resources is all being done to protect freedom. They spend their time consuming violence. They wallow in greed, hatred, selfishness. They thrive on incessant bad news and fear and terror. This is the type of energy that they are used to living in, and this is the type of energy that they now crave every day. One might wonder when the last time was that any of these people stopped and thought of something beautiful, thought of something pure. If it is true that the planet is in the state it is in because of our collective thoughts about it, those who do not act to affect positive change are therefore complicit. Staying in a state of inaction in the face of an atrocity, in the face of the abuse of someone else, when you look the other way, when you see an injustice, your thought at the subconscious level of creation, on a subconscious level of service to the creation for the Creator, your thought is your allowance of these things to occur. And in so doing, you are serving the wrong purpose. Those who think violent thoughts against those whom they perceive to be the rulers of this world, be careful what you wish for, because all thoughts are creative. I know I've said a lot of this to you before, but you need to be good to yourself and you need to be good to others. You need to cultivate genuine love, a genuine love for life. Choose to serve others. When you're waking people up, I've said this to you a myriad of times, when you're attempting to wake people up to the reality of the world and the reality of the situation, don't do it out of fear. Don't do it because you're worried about the future. Do it because you love these people, or even the most negative. None of them are what you would call evil. They are all polarized, and it's necessary for them to be polarized. It's necessary for them to be that way because this is the way that consciousness learns. No one can learn to become more positive unless they start off in a negative state. And every energy creates another anyway that is opposed to it in its polarization and equal to it in its strength. So for the most polarized person you see, the most negatively polarized person you see, there will be another created that is just as powerful and has an equal and opposite energy. So be good to yourself, folks, and be good to other people. Cultivate love. Cultivate love for life and for being, and be genuinely thankful that you're here, that you have an opportunity to participate in this rising consciousness that is occurring now, because this truly is what's happening, folks. The world would not be going through all of this stuff were the consciousness not rising. This is simply how it occurs. But this rising consciousness and what it provides needs to be looked at from all perspectives, and it needs to be embraced in all its possible manifestations. And what I'm saying here is that it's all very well to embrace positive thoughts, and we should embrace these positive thoughts. We should immerse ourselves in these positive thoughts. But thought without action will never achieve anything. We also need positive action. We can stand up against all of this corruption that is occurring within our governments and within our whole society. We can stand up and peacefully address this corruption. That's the thing. We can address this corruption without hate in our hearts for the perpetrators, because if we have hate in our hearts, hate will lead to polarization, it will lead to violence. And we can address this peacefully by addressing it with love in our hearts. We may not love the perpetrators at first. Many of the people listening to this show may find it very difficult to find any love in their hearts for these people at first. But they can still rise up against these people without being in a center of hatred. They can rise up against these people because they have love in their heart for themselves, for the people around them, for their children. They have love in their heart for the world. They have love in their heart for what is right. That is the attitude that needs to be embraced. That is the energy stance that is needed to truly address this problem. It cannot be addressed with violence. A peaceful revolution has never been achieved in the history of the world because people have always had anger in their hearts.